A Giants podcast for Giants fans
by Giants fans.
From the offseason to the wins and the losses, it's time to take one Giant step.
Welcome inside One Giant Step. It's week 3 in the National Football League, and dun 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 dun. The Giants will play on Sunday Night Football versus the Kansas City Chiefs. 0-2 versus 0-2 are the records, so plenty to dive into in this game. I'm Sean Morash. He's Bryce Gelman, at Sean Morash, at Bryce Gelman on Twitter and X. And we're recording this podcast slightly earlier than usual by about 12 hours or so, but I think we have enough base info and good info on Andrew Thomas, which we'll just get to in a couple moments. But Bryce, before I bring you in, I kind of want to touch on the week that's been since this loss to the Dallas Cowboys and clean up some kind of Giants conversation and Giants topics, and just bear with me and follow as we typically do on One Giant Step. I might be a little bit of a ball hog here to start the podcast, but I have some thoughts.
Okay, Sean.
All right. So here's where we're at, Bryce. Once again, just my bird's eye view, I find a fan base split in perception, which is funny because we do a fantasy versus reality segment at the end of these preview pods. So now it's like perception versus reality. And the fan base has been split in the past on Daniel Jones. They've been split in the past on whether or not to keep Saquon Barkley. More recently, over the last year and a half, split in the case of Brian Dable and Joe Shane. And whatever side of the aisle you fall on any of these arguments, you believe wholeheartedly you've been right. And obviously afterwards, room to switch sides and feel what's happening, but your evolution changes. But I say this to say the fan base kind of has confliction, and it's so funny because I thought this year, no matter what, good or bad, and this is probably where I'm a little naive as a Giant content creator, talk show host, and fan, I thought we would get less split this year, and right away after week 2, I feel like there's a serious split in the direction of the Giants and what to take from that 40-37 loss to the Dallas Cowboys. I really, really thought, Bryce, when we did that podcast following the show, where I apologize to the audience, I was pissed off, I was raw, I was just not
That's
trying
what
to
they want.
I know I'm not trying to pat myself on the back,
but they want the thorough analysis. They want the real, true emotion. That's what we all felt.
I guess, yeah. I didn't love doing that podcast. I'm happy we did it. I didn't love doing the podcast. I didn't feel like I was being like my best like talk show self. I felt more like just down in the dumps, and I didn't want to talk about the team. And you have to talk about the team on a podcast. But we've hit Wednesday, and I know we've done a lot of discussion on the show I am on Evan and Tiki on WFAN, the positives and negatives. I know Tiki's been very positive about it, but the idea of like the team scoring 37 points and Marcus Bowe playing well, and you could see the avenue for what this offense could be, and almost do we even appreciate Malik Neighbors and how special he is, right? And then there's the negative, which I keep finding myself on, which is so funny because I get painted as the pom-pom waiver, the positive, which is, man, the calling card is supposed to be the defense, and they give up 40 points. And I know I've been debating this with Tiki all week, where Tiki's like, man, the team's looking in the right direction. They scored 37, and I'm going the other way, where I know Dak Prescott's a good quarterback. I know they have 2 good wide receivers. They gave up 40 points. The Cowboys also aren't the greatest show on turf. So, and they have a really bad defense. So how much of that is how the Giants scored 37 points? So as we approach this Chiefs game, this is my long-winded setup to say, I have seen and I read a lot, and I'm almost amazed at how many Giants fans off of that game versus the Cowboys, because the offense finally looked like a competent offense and not a throwaway late in the year like the Colts last year, like an early sign, no Daniel Jones offense where they scored 37 points. How many fans are going, you know what, this Chief team's vulnerable. This Giant team is going to beat the Chiefs. Like, there's a lot of fans feeling that way, Bryce.
I know.
And then you have fans like me, and this is going to be like a little spoiler alert for my game pick, where it's, dude, the Chiefs are 0-2. They still have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Yeah.
That was a golden opportunity we pissed away. You think we're winning this game? Like, based on what? So I don't know. I start the podcast there as we head into the preview to go, what? Okay. Now, I've said that, and before you respond, just a couple of the checklist things I want to get through. I thought that post-game, because we did this podcast, our post-game podcast, as Brian Dable was speaking, so we didn't even have a chance to react to Dave speaking. He sounded sad, man, in the postgame. And I thought that if you go back and listen, there were moments in that postgame where I appreciated his emotion because it kind of felt like I felt, and I want that out of a head coach. but at the same time, he wasn't as stoic as he was. And I think I like stoic, non-answer Dable compared to that. That was just, we poured a lot into it, and it still wasn't a lot.
I disagree. I want the raw emotion. I want to see.
You liked what he had to say post-game? Post-game, he sounded like a defeated, kicked-down dog, dude.
Dude, but that's how everyone felt. I didn't want him sitting up there and saying the exact same garbage like he says every single time. I'm tired of it. And I get it. That's how people work. That's how you try to deal with the media in New York. You say anything wrong, they'll run with it. You know, every single beat writer in the entire building is going to write 15 articles about it, and they could take your words each way. But I like the idea of, I'm a human being. I screwed up. We screwed up. And we're not going to sit here. And I'm not going to sit here with the stoicism, as you put it, and not give you anything. The fans need something. You have to give the fans something. You can't just stand there and not say anything. For what?
That's our leader. Maybe you can find a fine line. While I appreciate it, here was my takeaway from it. My takeaway was, this is a head coach that's been through a lot. The highs of the highs, coach of the year, the lows of the lows, not getting the quarterback he wanted. Now he finally drafts when we still haven't seen him play. He finally gets the offense to click the way he wants it to click. Like, everything Brian Dable wanted to install from his offensive mind finally happened. And yet, and I can see he projected this, it still wasn't enough. They still lost the game. And that has to be a feeling of, when you're a head coach who knows maybe the seat's hot, maybe it's not, and that's another split fan base thing. What more can I possibly do here, man? And that was what he projected to me. And that was the way I interpreted it. And he's right. And that's why I'm a little more negative. And then here's the other issue. I appreciate a changing of the guard in terms of leadership on this team. Malik Neighbors, I thought post-game spoke brilliantly. I thought he spoke brilliantly on Wednesday, where he kind of stepped up and said, you know what, put the Russell Wilson pick on me. Yep. You want to see that from him, and that's really cool, and that's really awesome. I thought some of the sights and sounds videos that the Giants put out of Cam Scatteraboo as a rookie kind of firing up Russell Wilson and company, you could see the breadcrumbs of where you can look as a positive with the team. Like, the foundation of this team is changing. And then I got slapped upside the head with what I thought was an alarming negative 40 minutes before we're taping this podcast, Bryce.
And what was that?
Are you aware of Darius Slayton?
I did see this, yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm really bothered by this. So by the time you're listening to this, this may blow up and become a big deal. My Giants meter tells me if people care enough about the Giants and what's going on in the locker room, they should make it a big deal. So we're going to do it here on the podcast. And maybe it is a big deal by the time you listen to this. Maybe it's a nothing, but there is a content creator. I think he does some podcasts as well, called The Entertainer. I've heard him on other podcasts like Talking Giants and such.
YouTube, it seems like YouTube videos.
Yeah, and look, I've never had any personal interaction. He seems like a nice enough dude, right? We're all Giants fans here. I think at our core, we're all good people, and we all want the same thing. We all have our own little shtick and stuff. So I said to say, if you're not familiar with his work, go check it out. Like, he seems like a good enough dude. And he simply tweets out, Giants receiving TD leaders since 2020 before Malik Neighbors. 2020, Darius Slayton had 3. 2021, Evan Ingram had 3. Isaiah Hodgins in 2022 had 4. Darius Slayton 2023 had 4. Malik Neighbors in his first 17 games with 5 different quarterbacks has 9 touchdowns. The Giants have themselves a true wide receiver 1 again, and he's only 22 years old. That was the tweet. It's a fair tweet. It's a tweet to prop up how special a player Malik Neighbors is. And I took this tweet and I interpreted it as, even watching that game Sunday, I still don't think I fully appreciate, like, Malik Neighbors is special, dude. And the Giants have a special talent, special player. Even when we talked about training camp and we talked about Dart and Abdul Carter, it was almost like we knew Malik Neighbors was really good, but we still don't appreciate this guy could be the best wide receiver in football, and the New York Giants have him. And that's all that the Entertainer was doing. So rather than like brush this off, Darius Slayton quote tweets this. By the way, in a tweet, he is not tagged in. So I don't know if it got shared to him, or I don't know if he's searching his name on Twitter, which is really dangerous when you're a team.
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant likes stuff.
Yeah.
And his tweet was, and I think Slayton has been a pro's pro since he's been here, and he's been through a lot and everything. And I've been a supporter of his, although I think it's sometimes because he's a homegrown Giant, we tend to overrate him a little bit. A lot of big drops, whatever. His tweet to this was, LOL, make this same tweet, but then include how many touchdowns I had through my first 17 games. Remember, he was drafted in 2019. So this is from 2020 on. You could say Malik is a great player without trying to make it seem like the rest of us was bums. Dude, we're 0-2. Malik Neighbors is awesome. Darius Slayton caught a pass. Finally, he didn't play well in week 1. He had to play at Denfield. This is where your focus is at as a team captain on this team that's led by Brian Dable. Your focus is on some random dude on Twitter, which, no offense, entertainer, if you listen to this, like, you're a random dude on Twitter. Most of us are, right? Some random Giants fan on Twitter. Your focus is on him pointing out the low touchdown receiving totals we've had since 2020. And you want to bring up, and granted, he had a better 2019 in his first 17 games. What? Like, that's my reaction.
It's very obvious as, as an athlete to find certain tweets that are negative towards you. And if you read back that tweet and you read the stats, I don't understand how he could take that in a negative way. Like, they are trying to criticize you. I think fans, some of us are fed up with the fact that the Giants paid him $12 million a year and he's making $36 million. In week 1, did nothing. I think fans are rightfully upset with that. But that tweet was not that. It was the idea of saying Malik Neighbors is this good.
Yeah.
You're not trying to downplay your accomplishments here. And if you look at the replies, you look at what everyone said, it's all these Giants fans saying, like, hey, man, we love you. Like, keep going. Keep it going. You're one of our favorite Giants.
Why are you Josh Hart?
Sean, Josh Hart did something very similar a couple of months ago, and it was my exact same reaction. Like, why are you entertaining these people? Why? No pun intended with the entertainer, but why are you even giving this the time of day? Shouldn't you be focusing on your game? Josh Hart, shouldn't you be working on your three-point shot? Darius Slayton, shouldn't you be focused on winning this upcoming game when you guys are 0-2 and you face a mountain? You have to climb a mountain to get back to where you want to be and put the season back on track after whatever happened last week. And you got the Chiefs. And as you said, I wish I could sit here and tell you that it's going to go otherwise. Chiefs are 0-2. They have a million primetime games. We saw what happened last year, Sean. They were favored almost every single call they got. The only reason they made the Super Bowl is because they got every call. Do you think it's going to be any different this week? Sunday Night Football, MetLife Stadium,
this is my issue,
East Rutherford, New Jersey.
This is my issue. So we've done over 10 minutes now on this. The coach sounds defeated after the game versus the Cowboys. And again, I don't blame him for that. And he could be, by the way, this was 3 days ago now. He could have turned the page. I am sure that within that room, they're watching tape, locked in, and they have the ability offensively to do this. And this is not the same team. I'm not saying that it's absolutely impossible. What I'm just saying, my read on this is poured their heart and soul into it, still wasn't enough. You have a guy go off at Malik Neighbors who's trying to say the right things. And here's this team captain veteran searching his name on Twitter to see what people are saying to like fight with fans. I don't like the mindset of where the Giants find themselves ahead of this week. It could mean nothing. I could be overblown, but just this is my read on it. So now let's just talk about what is ahead of the Giants. First and foremost, Bryce, Andrew Thomas, as of Wednesday, was taking all the left tackle reps. I know Jordan Renan tweeted, Dan Duggan tweeted. The feel as of Wednesday, and we're doing this Wednesday night, okay? This is the audience, so in case we get this wrong, this is when we're taping this, is that Andrew Thomas is going to return to the lineup. That's enormous for the Giants. It's enormous that Marcus Bowe can continue to be a swing tackle if Thomas gets banged up again. I am totally fine with giving Marcus Bowe a couple weeks before I'm looking to insert him in the lineup, whether that's right tackle, moving Illuminor to guard, whatever they got to do. Andrew Thomas back is the biggest positive as we get onto this Giant-Chief game.
And let me give you a little power stat from Andrew Thomas. Since 2022, with Andrew Thomas on the field, the Giants are 15-16-1, averaging 19.3 points per game. Without him, they're 3-16, averaging 15.2 points per game. I don't think it's far-fetched to say that he's the most important Giant.
Yeah, we've said
Straight
that.
Up.
Yeah.
But going up those stats, and we're going to see it, the offensive line looked pretty good. And that's another story that's been a major conversation on Giants Twitter about what the hell they do about Marcus Bowe, who played an amazing game last Sunday. But what you do, you're going to put. I think
you just leave him as a swing tackle for now, and he's still a fifth rounder to develop. And I think you have a conversation as the year goes. If you want to alter stuff, if Van Roten's getting blown off, John Michael Schmidt's getting, I'm not rocking the boat and changing that. First of all, let's see Andrew Thomas stay healthy for a couple weeks too.
Yeah.
Like that's the other part of this. If you get Andrew Thomas settled in off this Liz Frank and he's healthy and we're rolling for a couple weeks, then you could say, all right, he looks good. He looks the part, because I don't want to pull somebody else out, put Marcus Bowe in. Then we're putting Marcus Bowe back at left tackle because Thomas gets hurt. So I'm not doing that. I know there's been a lot of conversation. I'm not doing that yet. It's totally reasonable to have a reliable swing tackle. Illuminor could get banged up for a play or two. Like keep that going. But Thomas back is the biggest positive for the week, as much as I rain on all the negatives. Here's the negative as we talk about this Giant Chief game, Bryce. The Giants' DNA, and I know they're trying to change that DNA, but we just saw it on full display on Sunday. We saw it when the game was 14-6 in the fourth quarter on Sunday. We saw it a lot the last 2 years. And we saw it when Joe Shane explained to the media last year at the bye week about losing close games. The Giants' DNA is almost so close. They lose these close games. They still have not found consistency in figuring out we could play these teams tough. How do we win them? The Cowboys last year, the Commanders last year, the Bengals last year. The freaking Chiefs' DNA of that entire team, that core, that coach, and that quarterback. The reason people question the Chiefs year in and year out is they win a lot of ugly games. Boy, they win a lot of ugly games. And then what do they do in January? Though that winning those ugly games when they're not blowing out the Dolphins 35-3 like the Bills are, that becomes their DNA and how they get through. The Chiefs can write an encyclopedia on how when they need to win a game and a game is close, they figure it out. And they
are the antithesis of what the Giants are.
Right.
The antithesis.
And now you have a situation where their backs are against the wall, do or die. And I think they have a lot of problems. They can't run the ball right now. Giants can't stop the run, which is ironic. The two worst rushing offenses in the NFL, by the way, through 2 weeks, will be playing on Sunday as the Giants play the Chiefs. And the Giants' rush defense is brutal. But the Chiefs have also migrated to this point where they have the best quarterback in football, and save me with Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. They are not Patrick Mahomes. I don't care what the stats say. Patrick Mahomes is the best. He's Houdini. He's the best quarterback in football. You pair that with a defensive coordinator like Steve Spagnuolo, who we appreciate. That's become a defensive-oriented team that yet also possesses the best quarterback in football. It's kind of a crazy conundrum because it's not a team that scores 40 points a game and this, that, and the other thing. But, man, they are going to work this week figuring out what the hell has gone wrong for 2 weeks, and they are probably licking their chops at some of the matchups in the Giants secondary. I'm happy Andrew Thomas is back. I think the Giants should be in a position where they should score more points than you would otherwise assume they would under a Daniel Jones offense if they were facing Steve Spagnuolo. I get all that, and that's where people are pointing the optimism. I am so concerned about, and I know Travis Kelce's slower, Worthy's practicing, whatever the hell the Chiefs are going to pull out. I don't care if it's Juju Smith-Schuster running loose. I am so concerned with how the Giants, if they put the ball in if this game is not up by 10 points, which I don't think it will be, and Patrick Mahomes is touching that ball late in the fourth quarter, how the hell are the Giants stopping it? How?
Yeah.
That's my concern with the game.
We know this. We know where this is going to go. We know how this is going to go. And hopefully it's close. Hopefully we even have the opportunity to see that. To see a game-winning drive for Patrick Mahomes. If the Giants get blown out in this game, heads are going to roll.
See,
heads are going to roll.
Well, Bryce, this is where I disagree with you. Number one, I don't think heads. What is heads are going to roll mean? They're not going to fire Dable and Shane if they're weak.
No. I'm just saying fans are going to have an uprising. The season's going to be looked at, maybe taking it out of context a little bit there. But I think that it's going to be a massive issue amongst the fans, the media, and the coaching staff is going to have to answer for a lot.
Number two,
the other part of the Cowboys.
This is what's funny about this. Well, I want to make this clear. Let me word this the right way. Well, nothing should surprise me about a game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I do oddly admit, as negative as I am, a Chiefs blowout, if I'm ranking scenarios, I think is the least likely outcome in this game. I don't believe the Chiefs are currently constructed and equipped to blow anybody out. But I also think that makes them wildly dangerous. I actually think, and I don't think this is going to happen, so follow me, I'm making this very confusing. I actually think if you were ranking what is the most likely outcome in this game, the Giants winning this game by multiple scores is more likely than the Chiefs winning this game by multiple scores. Yet a Chiefs win is so much more likely than any other outcome in this game. And I say that to say, I don't think especially with Andrew Thomas back, I don't think the Giants are not going to score at times in this game. And I don't think the Chiefs can go out and score 40 points. I don't think they will like Dallas did. I just don't. Whereas I could see the Giants with Andrew Thomas in the offense really taking off and scoring 30 again. While I don't expect that, I don't think the Chiefs get to 30 in this game. I don't. But I think that when you need a stop, it's not going to happen. So again,
I think you're giving the Giants defense way too much credit. This is going to be by far the easiest defense that the Chiefs will face.
It's actually a knock on what the Chiefs have going on weapon-wise.
I understand that.
And
they're going to have Worthy back. They've got their 4th-round rookie Jalen Royals. Looks like he's going to play as well. They're going to have all these weapons at their disposal. Listen, they have no Tyreek Hill anymore. They don't have any top of the line receivers.
Just follow the Chiefs. The Chiefs win a lot of games. They don't win a lot of blowouts. They just don't, even versus bad teams. That includes the Raiders, who have been bad the last couple years. They're not a blowout special team.
Dude, this Giants defense has been generationally bad. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, but for you to say right here that the Chiefs can't blow the Giants out after what we've seen,
I didn't say
you said it's the least likely outcome. That you think that it's more likely the Giants blow up the Chiefs than the Chiefs blow up the Giants.
But I didn't say it's likely. I didn't say either. I didn't say either were likely.
Okay,
I'm just making that clear. Which
I
is my
understand,
point.
but you're downplaying.
I find this more dangerous though because of that. I don't think the Chiefs all of a sudden go out, boom, 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 balls go in the heads. I think the Giants pass rush, which has been actually good, the pass rush will get after it. But I think it finds it dangerous. I think the idea of giving the ball to Patrick Mahomes in the fourth quarter, he will find a way. That's just my reaction. We disagree on that. That's fine. But let's get to fantasy versus reality. You know, it's so funny. The raw emotion stuff that we did after the game, I'm so much more confident through 20 minutes in this podcast being a better podcast than the reaction podcast. I feel like I'm red hot.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in NBA Jam. I'm on fire. I feel like I'm making a lot of sense for once. All right. Sorry, Bryce. Away we go. Because I'm going to get to the reality of it here, okay? Which is going to tie to what I just talked about. Fantasy-wise, Malik's a stud, right? Like, he was awesome. I'm going Cam Scadaboo here for 2 touchdowns in the game.
Okay.
All right. I kind of think while they're going to launch the ball down the field, I think the Chiefs are going to be a little more prepared for that. And I think that the Giants are going to have to, let's just say, nut up time in the red zone. I think they're going to have a couple opportunities inside the 5. I think Cam Scadaboo is going to find his way to the end zone twice in this game. So that's my
nut.
Nut up.
Nut up.
Nut up. Got to nut up on the goal line.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I don't know how much the Giants score in this game, but I have a feeling, it's one of those classic zig when everybody zags. Well, they threw all these bombs down the field. I think they're going to complete some deep passes. I'm not sure how many end up for touchdowns. I think they'll get down to inside the 5 a couple of times. And you could see Scadaboo getting better. It's harder to take him down. I think you have a big Cam Scadaboo coming out party. Not that he's going to rush for 100 yards, but more or less in the end zone. So in the fantasy prop play, I think he's getting in the end zone twice inside the red zone. So Cam Scadaboo for me on the fantasy play. Now, I'm going to let you do your whole thing in a second. The reality of the game. The reality of the game, this is what is so funny because I don't think it's going to happen. But when we do fantasy versus reality, the reality is how can the Giants win this game? I think if you leave this game to within 1 possession late, and there's any way, shape, or form that Patrick Mahomes has his hands on the ball last, you're losing the game. You're losing the game. They don't have Brandon Aubrey kicking it from 65 yards, but they do have Patrick Mahomes, who I think is better than Dak in those moments. He's not going to throw a pick. He's going to have some Houdini throw. He's going to have him in the grass. Burns going to have him half sack like that. That's how you lose the game. So when we do fantasy versus reality, well, Sean, what's the reality of how the Giants can win the game? The reality is you come out swinging so much that you actually do win a game by 2 scores and stun the nation. Now, I'm going to get to my game pick before you all start yelling at me. I actually think the reality is you can't keep this thing close and think you're not going to be devastated at the end by Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if it's 9 points, 10 points. You have to be up more than 2 scores with 4 minutes left.
Are you talking about the reality in which the Giants win the game or the reality in which you think the game is going to go?
No. I look at when I do this segment, it's the reality of how the Giants can win the game or like their path to victory. Not when I say that, it doesn't mean what I think is going to happen, the reality.
That's what I thought. Okay. All right.
That is the way I've always interpreted this segment. So my reality for the Giants is I don't know what it's going to take, how you're going to do it. You got to keep the offensive momentum going. Anything one score or less, and Patrick Mahomes has the ball with 4 minutes or less, I know you're going to lose that game. That team's DNA in the Chiefs is to find a way to win those close games. You have to do like what the Eagles did last week. The Giants are not the Eagles. The Chiefs ended up making that a one-score game, but they were out of time to make it, back. That is how they lost. The Chargers eventually pulled away in week 1. You need to keep that to more than a 7-point situation if you're going to win the game. Now, you go with fantasy versus reality, and we'll give our game pick.
Thank you for the time. All right, so I think that, and this will be a fun one. I gave you Wan'Dale Robinson last week. Pat myself on the back for that one. Wan'Dale Robinson now is the 6th most receiving yards in the NFL, which is just unreal. Neighbors and Wan'Dale have combined for like 450 yards, and the Giants are 0-2. How about that? But I think that this is going to be a little bit of a wild pick. I think it's going to be a slow, tough, physical, hard-fought game in which the Giants are again unable to score from within the red zone. So saying all that, my fantasy pick is Graham Gano. I think not like any of you are starting Graham Gano in any of your fantasy leagues. I'm sure he's probably rostered in 5-10%. But I like the idea of Graham Gano coming on the field. And no one's saying that he's a top 10 kicker in the NFL. I think he's probably top 15. He's above average. He can have a really good game here because of how slow and hard fought it is going to be. And there will be times in which the Giants are unable to convert in the red zone. Sean, they're 15% in the red zone this year. 15%. So, and also their opponents are obviously have a much higher rate than that. So if the Giants can keep this a close game, yeah, maybe I think the Chiefs will win the game, and I'll get to my reality in a second. But I like the idea of Graham Gano maybe knocking in 3, maybe 4 field goals and giving you 15, 16 fantasy points. I don't know. I've never bet a kicker prop. I'm not that insane. I probably have to call the number. I know.
Probably like over 6.5 or something like that.
I'd have to call the number for that. I've never done that. Never will. All right. So let me get into my reality. I think the Giants win this game. I agree with you. I think you're preaching to the choir here. Cannot be a close game late. The Giants need to be up 8. I mean, even 8, 9, 10. It can't be within reach with a lot of time remaining. Here's what I think is how the Giants win this game. The only way consistently that the Chiefs have been able to move the ball, their death taxes way of going on offense, is Patrick Mahomes running the football. Through his first 2 games, 2 very similar games, around 7 rushes for 60 yards, 9.5 yards per carry, Sean. 60 and 56, I think, yards. He's over 100 yards this year. You got to watch Patrick Mahomes. You got to watch him scrambling. You saw it against the Commanders, Sean. Giants couldn't stop Jaden Daniels. I understand Jaden Daniels is much more elusive, much more agile than Patrick Mahomes. But Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes. He could still run. He could still use his legs to stretch out plays, to run for the first down. The Giants simply cannot allow that. With how thin they are at linebacker, Sean, they are going to be very susceptible at allowing 15, 20-yard chunk runs from Patrick Mahomes. Am I concerned whatsoever about Isaiah Pacheco? No. The guy is washed. And this is his best opportunity against this Giants team.
Man.
I know. It is his best opportunity to actually break out this season, considering the fact the Giants have allowed 177 rush yards per game. The Giants win this game. They stop Mahomes from running the ball. They keep it a close game. And just like you said, it's the only way the Giants win this game is game is out of reach late. Mahomes can't come back and win it.
Okay. I like it. We're aligned there. So now we got to do it. We got a good game pick.
So I think, okay, we took the points. I think we're 1-1. I think we both took the Giants in the points.
No. I took Dallas.
Sure?
I took Dallas.
And then if you did, then I think I did well as well.
I took Dallas. I know I did because I'm staying consistent with what I did at Evan and TV.
I probably should have. I think you might have went against it. There's no way of me finding this out right now. I probably should write this down.
The spread here is 5.5.
Yeah.
No, I picked 27-20 last week. I know I picked 27-20. So I
you
lost.
go, and I'm gonna see what I had.
I lost. For sure. And I picked the Giants in week 1, so I lost. So I'm 0-2 picking Giant games. The spread is 5.5. Juice to the Chiefs laying the 5.5. I have a vision in how the game's going to go and what the complaint after the game is going to be. I mentioned the Cam Scatterboo 2 touchdowns. I think those will be the only 2 touchdowns the Giants score in the game. I think that they will be losing this game 20-17 with about 3 and change left. They're going to get the ball back. And unlike last week in overtime, Russell Wilson's going to lead them enough in the field. The Giants are going to be faced with a pivotal 4th and short decision in which they are either going to kick a field goal to tie it, but leave, let's say, 55 seconds on the clock. I'm being very distinctive here. Or they go for it with the idea of try to get this first, get close to the field, let's try to score and be the last team to touch the ball. And they are going to elect to play it safe and kick the field goal and give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes with 55 seconds left, in which case they will lose 23-20 at the gun. Second straight week, a field goal beats them at the end of the game. And Monday, and on this podcast, on sports radio, we will debate whether Brian Daboll lost that game with his decision-making and playing scared and all of that. I see it coming. So I'm going to take the Giants with the points here. But I think they make us have a restless night. 23-20, the Chiefs win with some faulty decision-making on if we should be playing for field goals or not. That's my read and play on the game, Bryce.
I can't, in good faith, put that into the universe. That happened.
I did, baby. I did, baby. Can you
I
tell I'm
can't
beating
sit
down?
here.
Tell me I'm crazy. You can't.
You're thinking with your heart. You're thinking with your heart and not your head. I think that the Giants lose this game 27-16, and I kind of want to switch it up. I don't want to take. We've had the same pick 2 weeks in a row. I'm going to switch it up. So I'm gonna take the Chiefs minus 5.5 in this game, and I think it goes like this. I think it's very close. The first half, the Giants give you a few massive sacks. You finally get a sack from Dexter Lawrence. He gets the crowd all fired up. And then what you see in the second half is the Giants' defense break down. The Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes will control the time of possession. The Giants' defense is going to get tired, and they're going to let up 15, 20 points in that second half. And the Chiefs are going to pull away. The Giants are going to have multiple opportunities. I do agree with you. There's going to be like some iffy decisions on whether or not to go for it or kick the field goal in the second half. That I think that will happen once or twice, in which the Giants do end up going for it and don't get it, or they don't go for it, kick the field goal. People are pissed. You can't win. The Giants lose this game because they essentially give up, because they are so tired, and because I have zero trust in Shane Bowen. Zero. I forgot to put the game pick, but you see, game pick. Yeah, I zero trust in Shane Bowen. You say that the Giants fan base is split. There's one thing that we are all in agreement about. Shane Bowen has to get his head out of his ass. This is a legacy game. This is a massive game. There's no one who has more pressure going into this game besides Dave. Well, he's the head coach. We understand. No player, no coach, Shane Bowen. It's Shane Bowen. He has to call a good game. The Giants can't do anything stupid like they did in the fourth quarter of the last game against the Cowboys. That can't happen again. It can't. And I don't want to hear after the game Brian Daboll make excuses for some terrible play calling on defense. Shane Bowen has to figure it out. This is the best opportunity to. The Chiefs, as you said, zero offensive firepower. They can't get anything going downfield. The only thing they have working for them is Patrick Mahomes running the football. So I think the Giants lose the game. But they gave us a good game in the first half. In the second half, they just fall apart.
Closing thought here. The last time I remember a defensive coordinator under this much scrutiny after 2 weeks was 2007, and his name was Steve Spagnuolo.
Oh, stop it.
After the Cowboy and Packer losses. And that team rose to the occasion in week 3 and had that big goal line stop. Maybe we channeled a little 2007
That 2007 team also started 0-2. One of 3 teams ever to win the Super Bowl after going 0-2.
Shades of 07 and Spags.
Crazy.
All right, we'll be back after the game on Sunday, Monday. Check it out then. one giant step. Download, subscribe everywhere you get your podcasts. At Bryce Gelman, at Sean Morash. Enjoy Carrie Underwood. Enjoy Sunday Night Football. And win or lose, we'll be back here to lick our wounds. Take care, everyone.